Hi, my name is Summer Collins, and I will be discussing Marginal Man theory. Alright, so I have this image here. What does this image portray to you? Well, to me, it shows a human being trying to find his self-identity, trying to see, where do I belong in society, in this black and white society. And also that he's living on the edge. Okay, so Robert Park, he gave an awesome quote. And with that quote, he stated, an individual influenced by two differing ethnic or racial groups, whom fate has condemned to live in two societies, and in two not merely different but antagonistic cultures, his mind is the crucible in which two different and refractory cultures may be said to melt in either wholly or in part fuse. So what he is saying is, for instance, biracial person, okay, that person is living in two societies, because you have the black side and then you have the white side. And so how should they live in two societies? And knowing that they know the cultures, but how does society see them? Do they see them because if they talk black, that they belong to the black side? Or if they see them, they talking really proper and high pitch, should they belong to the white side? And also looking at it from an educational setting, because there are a lot of issues. And I think Marginal Man theory that Robert Park introduced will display those issues. Alright, so Robert Park, like I stated, he was the one that introduced Marginal Man theory. He was born February the 14th, 1864, and died February the 7th, 1944. Robert Park was a professor at a school in Chicago. That's where he was introduced to Everett Stonequest. Everett Stonequest was his student at that school, and Everett was very intrigued with Marginal Man. So he asked to work on the project with him, and that's where these two proceeded to add more to Marginal Man theory and do some more study and research. So this man was born October the 5th, 1901, and died March the 26th, 1979. Alright, so he defined a marginal person as a person poised in the psychological uncertainty between two social worlds, reflecting in his soul the discards and harmonies, repulsions, and attractions of these worlds, within which membership is implicitly, if not explicitly, based upon birth or ancestry, and where exclusion removed the individual from a system of group of relations. So a marginal person, like I stated from the last slide, for an example, let's go back to a biracial or multiracial person. Okay, they have psychological issues. They don't know where they belong in society. Alright, constructs. Okay, you have marginalization, you have psychological marginalization, socialization, culture, marginal man. Okay, so I want to discuss these constructs that are factors in Marginal Man theory. Okay, Marginal Man is referred as a cultured hybrid because, according to Park, it is a man living and sharing intimately in the cultural life and traditions of two distinct people, never quite willing to break, even if he were permitted to do so, with his past and his tradition, and not quite being accepted because of racial prejudice in the new society in which he now sought to find a place. He was a man on the margin of two cultures and two societies which never completely interpenetrated and fused. Alright, marginalization. Well, that's a person living on the edge. Psychological. Psychological is talking about shared attributes, values of groups, and the impact of being marginalized. Okay, culture. Culture is dealing with the behavior patterns among two groups, which is the dominant and marginal group. And then we have socialization. Socialization is the social relation taking form of the two groups. And then we have, I think it was marginalization. And again, that one is living on the edge. And all of these are components pertaining to marginal man theory that will be very important and used in my study. All right, so I came across 2 empirical reviews, and those reviews, one of them are called When Change Doesn't Matter, Racial Identity, Inconsistency, and Adolescent Well-Being. Now, it's written by multiple researchers, okay? And what they stated was that the adolescent's experiences with a multiracial adolescent in their lifestyle, that they have a lot of psychological issues. And that goes for the next study. It's talking about a multiracial self-identification and adolescent outcome, how a social psychological approach to the marginal man theory. Now, these are by 2 authors, Ching and Lively. So they discuss the degree to which multiracial adolescents with inconsistent identities exhibit, again, psychological as well as academic behaviors. They're very moody, feel like they don't belong anywhere. They're depressed and stressed, living in a society. So these 2 had some great relations to my study, and they're mainly just talking about multiracial people. They just have psychological issues. All right, now, contemporary issue. What I came across is standardized testing as a tool to marginalize minority students. I think that the marginal man theory would identify the disparity gaps between the achievement and race, as well as explain the difference in the IQ indices of the different race and ethnic groups. And I feel that with further research pertaining to standardized testing as a tool, it will help to explore marginalization of minority students. As a teacher, students that I come across, when they see their test results, they are saying negative things. They're in disbelief, and they feel that society will place them there. And even when we're analyzing data, we're always going back to race. Why is that? Why does it have to always be like that? And with that child, any minority student, okay, with them having that negative belief in their behavior and moody, then they don't believe that they will pass the test. I feel like they're being marginalized. And when, as teachers, we look at the data, we look at the race, and then we have to differentiate. We're marginalizing them as low achievers and high achievers. So I think it'll be a great study to look at standardized testing as a tool to marginalize minority students. And I really feel like much research is needed for this. All right. So here are my references that I used throughout my PowerPoint. And the study is just based on standardized testing. And like I stated, examining any factors that correlate. I would input psychological, socialization, all the constructs that I mentioned in this PowerPoint will be displayed in my study. as I feel like it will definitely examine and also give an eyesight for test analysts. I think there's a better way we can look at this instead of just breaking it down to race, because it's defaming each race, is categorizing, and I don't think that's the way that we should go. And it's also having the students feel like they're not important because they are known, especially, for example, blacks. They're known to have 6 test points lesser than any other group. They're known to have lower scores. So I think this would be a great study to look at. And I would definitely do my study in Georgia. Probably pertain to middle school, high school, qualitative study. Okay. All right, so thank you for watching my PowerPoint.